Here we go. Yeah. So ruach is generally nekeva, and sometimes it could be zachar. So what I was trying to do, who came up with the translation of machalehu as its illness on day one when we learned this? Was that you, Isaac, or not? No?
In his illness?
In its illness, the ruach's illness. No? Okay, because that was the interpretation we worked on last. So I haven't been able to find anyone who says that, and I was trying to figure out why. So I was thinking, maybe it has to do with like the gender of the noun and the adjective. So ruach ish yechalkel is masculine, right? Machalehu, its illness. So, or his illness, that's either referring to the ish or the ruach. And then the second half, ruach nechea is feminine as far as I know. And then mi yisa and na, who can lift it, that's also referring to the ruach as feminine. And that's just bothering me that in the same pasuk it uses it in two different ways. So I don't have a good answer to that, but like that was the first obstacle I had. And again, I have not yet found anyone who says its illness refers to the illness of the ruach. And I think maybe the reason for that is because the second half is clearly talking about when there's something wrong with the ruach. So like, even though we worked out a nice explanation for saying its illness, I just didn't see that supported in the Mefarshim. So that's why this is a case where like my intuition is telling me that maybe we're reading it wrong. Yeah.
I have a Rashi answer.
Okay.
That it's ruach ish, like ruach in the masculine.
That is Rashi. That is very Rashi. Yeah. So speaking of ish, look at Rashi. Rashi actually gives a good. Yeah. That's funny. I didn't even think of it. I didn't mean it that way. Sorry. Yeah, I wouldn't apologize for that anyway. All right. Ruach ish. Ruach.
No, that was unapologetic.
Yeah. Rashi says ruach ish is ruach gever, shehu ish gibor. Okay. So he says ish is not a person. It is a man. Okay. The spirit, a manly spirit, right? A ish gibor. Ve'eno nosein daga belibu. He does not place worry into his heart. Umakaba kol haba alav b'simcha uvechiba. And he accepts everything that befalls him with joy and delight, or chiba, however you want to say chiba. And then yechalka machalehu in kocho sarme alav. What does it mean that it sustains him? How would you translate in kocho sarme alav?
His strength doesn't leave him.
His strength does not leave him. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. So that is in line with some of the approaches we said yesterday, right? That basically that your spirit, meaning your, how would you say he's translating, or he's understanding spirit here? Because he doesn't say it outright.
Psyche.
Yeah, so it seems like he's taking the psyche route, right? So your spirit, if you don't have any anxiety or worry, so then, and you accept everything that befalls you with simcha, if you're samech b'chelko with your with stuff that befalls you, so then nothing can take that away from you, and that'll sustain you. And he doesn't apply it to the second half, but I think he doesn't need to, right? Yeah, right. So like, Marcus Aurelius would like this pasuk, right? Because it's exactly that. Is that the only thing that really determines your suffering and your contentedness is your ruach. That's the only thing that you can really, that's really in your control. You can't control what happens to you outside. But that's also addressing the issue of the there's a certain type of gevura that you have to have in order to have this. Can we define the gevura a little bit more? Self-assuredness. So can you explain that in a way that differentiates it from the bad kind of self-assuredness? Because I think when we think of self-assuredness, then we typically think of it as like overconfidence, So confidence.
Confidence.
For some reason, this is not registering clearly in my mind.
But not really confidence, because confidence is an outward expression, whereas I think self-assuredness is more internal.
What's your working definition of Gibor, not Gibor as a person, but like the Shoresh of Gilm Bez Resh. Oh, because see, yes, that's the right answer. I think that actually is applicable here. Because my understanding of Gibor, and again, this is not like I'm not a guy who's spent 20 years writing an etymological dictionary, but I always think of Gibor as strength, but in terms of two forces, like an overpowering, like Koheles Yitzro. Not, for example, as opposed to, let's say, Koach, which is just like strength or Oz or something which is just like internally, like you're misgaber al something, you exert your power over something, So maybe that's why. So I'm not saying that contradicts the approach that both of you are taking about the confidence or
I'm
whatever.
not saying keyboard is confidence. I'm just saying self-assuredness. I'm just saying when I think self-assuredness, I don't think overconfidence.
Okay, I hear what you're saying. Yeah. Okay, so you're just addressing the connotation there. Yeah.
But I don't know if that's
because what I'm wondering here is in terms of the gibor, is there a type of gevura of like an overpowering that you need in order to be able to be mekabel kol haba'ala b'simcha u'v'chiba?
Well, definitely.
Let's see if we get a clear idea of that then. Because I think, let me just to flesh out the other side of the question. Like I think when you think of being mekabel something of mikabel kol haba'ala b'simcha u'v'chiba, it suggests a certain type of yielding or passivity, which is not what we think of when we think of gibor, So, and I'm not saying this is like a knockout problem. I just want to like show where the question comes from. What were you about to say?
Yeah, that when something negative happens to you, your initial reaction is to, feel negative about it.
Mm-hmm.
So to, kind of not force yourself, but to, work in such a way that you accept that thing with positivity, that you're overcoming that force that's.
So that is Koheles Yitzro then, right? Is it Koheles Yitzro? Right? It's like you're saying it's an internal reaction that you have to overcome somehow, or overpower, or subdue, or whatever word you want to use.
I think Koheles Yitzro has a certain foundation of what that's talking about, but so I'd rather not use that phrase.
It's like a tie.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I'd
say it's like.
But maybe this is expanding that. I'm not sure. Yeah.
But it's not using that phrase.
No.
I'd like to not take up that phrase if it's not like necessary to.
Okay.
I mean, even if it falls under that.
Yeah.
Like what that phrase means. Like.
You're saying you hate Pirkei Avos. I get it. Go ahead. No. Yeah.
I'm saying I started learning that Mishnah with Josh, and we haven't gotten up to that part. So I don't want.
Okay, you want the snow to be kept pristine. Yes. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. So. So I think it's the person that has to like actively shift the mentality because when you encounter a bad thing, just the way people's minds work is that they naturally say this is bad or this is good, but you don't know how it's going to end, and so you have to shift your yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So you have to like actively work to shift your mentality away from focusing on the particulars to like thinking about it in a more like realistic sense.
Okay, so just to let's make the question more precise based on that is what are you being misgaber al? Okay, meaning are you being misgaber? You're saying you have to actually work to overpower your initial perception, right? And the direction we were saying before, which might be the same thing, but just the words we were using, since apparently we care about words, is overpowering your initial feelings about the thing. I don't want to say yetzer, your feelings about the thing. So is that the same thing, or are those two different things? Meaning, are you? Yeah.
Yeah. Don't tell me how I said
Yeah,
this.
they're the same.
No, I think they're different.
Different. I think they're different also. Yeah.
Don't tell me how I said this, but cognitive behavior therapy. It's the whole.
It's a whole ASIC. Yeah.
The whole subject.
Let me just see something in the.
Not that he's definitively not into it.
Right.
But like, I don't want to.
I see.
Get into that.
I see.
Hold on, just 1 second here. I'm just looking up the Aurelius from this morning.
I haven't listened to it yet.
Yeah, because he uses this phrase here. Okay, I mean, I'm just putting it into this category here. I'll just read the first part of it. So he says, body, this is 3:16, body, vital, spirit, mind. That's the first 3 words. Okay, so the body belongs sense perceptions, to the vital spirit, impulses, to the mind, principles. Those are three things. What was it?
We've been dealing with those 3 categories.
Yes. I was wary that I was projecting into it,
right.
But either I'm not or I'm not the only one. Yeah. But then this is the part that I want to read though.
Vital spirit being psyche?
I think vital spirit in this case is psyche. Yeah. So
otherwise we haven't been
Yeah.
So these next two clauses is what I was having in mind. To be impressed by images. Now, impressed here does not mean like, ooh, it means like for them to make an impression on you. To be impressed by images also belongs to the beasts of the field. To be pulled by the strings of desire belongs to the wild beasts and to men who sin against nature. Okay. And then he goes on, but I guess that's the question here. In other words, what are you overpowering here? Are you overpowering the images, meaning the way you frame things, which is like what you're saying, or is it you're overpowering your initial emotional impulses that react to what's going on, or is it somehow both? Like, you know. And let's just reread Rashi one more time now that we've been thinking about it. Ruach gever shu ish gibor. So that's what we've been focused on. The eno nosein daga belibo. That's a very interesting phrase also. He doesn't place daga into his heart. Umakabel kol haba alav b'simcha uvachiba. So that, now I'm thinking about it, that sounds like two things, right? Meaning one is the absence of daga, and the other is like you could theoretically have the absence of daga without being misameach in what happens to you. So that sounds like two different steps.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna take a step that's possibly a methodological or something.
Okay.
Something that there's, like, I'd say two different phases
You
of
can
this.
confidently step into the pit.
He's talking about like two different phases. There's where a person is like, there's a stage where a person, when he encounters something that's like troublesome, he first has like a feeling like he resists. He's like resisting a feeling of framing it in a negative way. And then the second stage is that he gets to a point where he automatically, like, he just by default sees it in like a positive way.
Okay, so I'm smiling. You can't see. I'm smiling because I'm realizing the two-stage thing, which you just said, and which Rashi is saying here. I realize now this is another full pasuk. Okay, so if you don't mind departing from chapter 18 and just taking a detour in order to understand this Rashi, and it's entirely possible that Rashi is actually referring to this pasuk. Okay, even though he doesn't quote a pasuk. So you tell me.
Two-stage pasuk.
A two-stage pasuk, yeah. Check out 12:25. Okay. And maybe we can just work on this for instead of going on in 15 today, and maybe until tomorrow also. Okay, you got it. Daga believe ish yashchena v'davar tov yasamachena. Okay, worry. If there's worry in a person's lave, he should yashchena. Any initial translations of yashchena?
Like shukin. Well, no, that's
yeah. So I think this is really tashacha, which is to bow down. Look at Mitzvah Sion, I believe, if I remember this puzzle correctly. No, he should yashchena milashon shchia v'hashpala kmo shachu ra'im. He should lower it. Okay. What's another word for shchia? I mean, to
Bend.
Yeah. Bow it. Right. Yeah. Okay. And then v'davar tov yasamchena. So this is the weird thing. How do you translate davar tov yasamchena?
The good thing.
Yeah.
He should happy it.
Happy it. Right. Yeah. So what's the it?
Or the
da'aga.
Or the levi.
I don't know if lave is feminine.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Right?
Yes, you're right.
I'm not sure how it's the daga.
You're not sure what?
I'm not sure how it's the daga.
Because daga is the only thing that is feminine in the pasuk.
Yeah, but how is that happy? How do you make the daga?
How do you make the daga happy? Yeah, right. Now who did I learn this with the Mefarshim?
What's the davar tov mean in this? Like,
so that's the other question, right? So let's just flesh out the questions here. I'm not going to write this all like the way I usually do. We have what type of daga are we talking about? How do you be yashchena it, right? what is the davar tov? How does the davar tov make the daga happy? What does that mean? Also, like I didn't know. I knew I could be happy, but I didn't know my worry could be happy. It's just like it's just a weird phrase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems like happiness is the absence, or not. It's not the absence of worry, but like one of the prerequisites is the absence of worry.
Yes, I would
So
agree
it's-
with you. Yeah, you cannot be simultaneously happy. I'm not talking like philosophically happy, but like
Right.
you can't be in a happy mood mixed with anxiety. I don't think,
Yeah.
or worry. Yeah,
To the extent that you have the worries that detract from the happiness.
yeah.
So it's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you see that I think it's clear that this is a two-step process,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Daga believe ish yashkana, vidavar tov yisam. I mean, you don't have to learn it that there's sequentially two steps, but there are two components. And Rashi does seem to be referring in our previous pasuk to he's not nosing daga belibo, and he accepts everything with simcha. So again, I'm not saying it's exactly the same thing, but like I don't think I'm crazy for associating to this pasuk.
Right.
Yeah. So if I remember correctly, I think Metzudas David has a good interpretation. I don't remember though. It's been a while since I did this one. Look at Metzudas David. Daga. Okay. Kishaba daga balev ish yima'it v'yashpil osa mikamos shahi. So when worry enters a person's heart, he should reduce it and lower it from what it was. Okay. V'davar tov who. And it is a good thing, im yuchal la'atzor koach, if he can restrain his energy, his capacity, his strength, lismoach od es hada'aga, to make the daga rejoice more, or like to make it rejoice, v'lachshov ki latova ba mashaba, and to think that whatever came for the good. This is like the Hainut Amr Inshi Gamzu Latova, right? I know people mean different things by that, but he's saying that it's
I think phrasing as a high endowment issue is a good category. Like
yeah.
Does the Gemara put it like that?
Gamzu Latova?
No,
No, it's Nachum Ish Gamzu.
Right,
Yeah.
that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, but
But it's good that you framed it like that.
Yeah.
I think the way people refer to it, the way the Gemara means it is different.
Yeah.
So like it was good.
Yeah, I mean the Gemara, the story in the Gemara is wild, right? That's the
Yeah.
one where he like
He flames and then his house fell down.
no.
So the treasure chest.
The treasure chest, yeah, right. Is that he if I remember correctly, the king actually no, I have it here. Hold on.
Oh yes, that one.
Yeah, I'm just gonna read it just so we can
Oh, right, where he brings the chest.
Yeah, the magical arrow dust. Yeah.
Right.
Let's see here. Yeah, the story there, not to go into the whole Gamzu Latova thing, but let's go into Gamzu. Nachum Ish Gamzu, I'm just going to read it in English here. Nachum Ish Gamzu was accustomed to, in response to any circumstance that arose in his regard, he would say, Gamzu Latova, right? This is also for the good. One day the Jewish people sought to send a gift to the emperor. They said, with whom shall we send the gift? They decided we will send it with Nachum Ish Gamzu, as he has experienced in miracles, right? That's Maluman Benisim, That's always the best person to send. When he reached a certain lodging, he sought to sleep there. The residents of that lodging said to him, what do you have with you? Nachum said to them, I'm taking the head tax to the emperor. They rose in the night, opened his chest, and took everything that was in it, and then filled the chest with dirt. When he arrived there in Rome, earth was discovered in the chest. The emperor said, the Jews are mocking me by giving me this gift. They took Nachum out to kill him. Nachum said, this too is for the good. Eliyahu Hanavi came and appeared to them as one of Nachum's traveling party. Okay, Eliyahu said to them, perhaps this earth was from the earth of Avraham Avinu, who would throw dust and it became swords, and who would throw straw and it became arrows. I guess he was also Maluma Benisim. They examined the dust and discovered that it was indeed the dust of Avraham Avinu. There was a province that the Romans were unable to conquer. They threw some of the earth upon that province and they conquered it. Okay. In appreciation for the gift that Nachum Ish Gamzu had brought on behalf of the Jewish people, they brought him to the treasury and said, take that which is preferable to you. He filled his chest with gold. When he returned to that lodging, those residents said to him, what did you bring to the king's palace? He said to them, what I took from here, I brought to there. Cryptic. The residents concluded that the earth which they had filled the chest with had miraculous properties. They took the earth and brought it to the emperor. Once the Romans discovered that the earth was ineffective in battle, they executed those residents. Yeah, so that is definitely not like what Metzudas does. You don't have to be Maluma Benisim in order to apply this pasuk.
I thought he saw the dirt in the morning, like before he went.
Yeah, he did.
knew it
Yeah,
was dirt.
yeah. He saw that it was dirt.
Okay.
Yeah. I think. I mean, or maybe there's two ways to read it. That they opened it and saw it was dirt. Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't. Maybe I missed that.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so this actually does, I think, stop me if I'm projecting, does fit into what we were saying last night with the Rambam on Kishem Shemavarachim Al Ra Kach Mevarachim Tova, right? That so you have the first step would be in accordance with that, that something bad happens. So how are you yashchena the da'aga? How would you say based on that approach from last night?
That like, what you see is like a very short-sighted way of seeing it.
Yeah.
And good, bad, it's hard to tell.
Yes, exactly, right? And I think that's why he says Yashpilsa mikamos shahi and yama'et, because you don't. It's not like you're getting rid of the daga, like the like entirely. You know, like this thing that's happening to you is bad in some way, right? You know, in the long run you don't know, but so I think that's like the first step is to realize that you're looking at it in a very short-term perspective, and you don't know what the long-term perspective is. Yeah.
It seems slightly different because like Gamzu Tova is a little different.
No, I'm not saying Gamzu Tova. I'm saying the first step.
Which
Daga b'lev ish yashchena
is what?
That's applying the perspective of
I see.
Then the second step is v'davar tov yasamchena.
Okay, I thought we were saying that Gamzu Tova was the same thing that we were saying last night.
No, I was saying that Daga b'lev ish yashchena is the same thing as we were saying last night. Okay, so now the question, and I think this explains what our intuition was also, which is that I don't think you can effectively do the davar tov yasamchena unless you first do this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think that is the approach that people sometimes try to take. Like I mean, maybe this is not a generous way to say it, but like
trying to imagine how it's going to really be good for them.
Right. In other words, but they try to to see the good in the thing now, without taking that step of realizing my initial perception is not accurate. Like they try to fuse the two steps, in other words, you know, like they are trying to say, well, maybe this will be for good, you know, but I feel like there is a distinct stage where you have to recognize my initial impressions are not indicative of what the future is, you know, and that's the that's the type of gavur that we were saying of like resisting, overpowering the initial impulses. Maybe it's both of what we're saying. Overpowering the initial images and impressions of like that of what the thing is and your initial feelings about the thing, you know, that's like step one.
That was last night.
That was last night. Yeah. Okay. But now the question is, so then what do you do? What did he say? V'davar tovhu. So it's interesting. He's reading the pasuk as davar tov yisamchena. He's saying davar tov im yisamchena. He's inserting a word there. It is a good thing if you make the daga happy.
Yeah, like there's like a colon there.
Yeah. In where?
After davar tov.
A colon. Yeah. Colon. Yeah. Yeah. Right. As opposed, for some reason I thought semicolon. For some, I was gonna say, some other mafarshim say that you should be mesamchena with a davar tov. Okay, like I think, not I don't want to learn Rashi right now, but Rashi says, davar tov mesamchena yasok batorah v'hi tasameach es hadaga. So like, a good thing will make the daga rejoice. You know, so that's not how the Mitzvah David is learning. He's saying it is good for you im yachol la'atzor koach. Lismoch od esadaga v'lachshov ki latova ba mashaba. So I don't know what he means by the atziras koach here, lismoch, like you know, mustering up your koach or withdrawing your koach to rejoice. But he's saying how to do it is thinking that it's latova. Yeah. So we have a shot for that. Like what is how does that work? And also like, you know, this is different than the farmer story because the farmer said good, bad, it's hard to tell. This is saying you should think that it's for the good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to look something up. I just want to stop sharing the screen for 1 second. Maybe I did actually write about this. Yeah.
If the first step is like recognizing that you don't necessarily, you can't know what the outcome is going to be. So this is kind of like not like a not caring, but like a giving up of like the attachment to a certain outcome, I guess.
Yeah.
Whatever happens, like that's I guess it won't bother you one way or another. Like it's not like you just don't know, and it could be for the good, it could be for the bad, but like even whatever happens, it'll be fine. It'll be good.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
Yeah. So just can we define the difference then between, like, the farmer parable is very reasonable, right? Because you don't know. So is this like a faking yourself out thing? Is it like a speculation thing? Like how?
Well, maybe it's like
I think when you the initial step before you do any of this, you're worried because you're focusing on a particular bad outcome.
Mm-hmm.
So then the first step is saying, I don't really know whether the outcome is going to be bad or not.
Yeah.
And then this step is saying, it's like putting it in like a more optimistic light. Like there's a lot of good that's going to come out of this. I don't know what it is, and also maybe like some bad, but like you don't know what like the good and the bad that's going to come out of this. So like be like looking forward like optimistically, like there's going to be like there could be like great good that comes out.
Yeah. So I guess that's my question: is this just optimism, or is it more than that?
Yeah. Maybe it's a recognition that it can't, like, I guess the bad can't really be so bad. Like even if you like died, like it wouldn't be like terror.
Mm-hmm.
Like whatever. Obviously,
speak for yourself. Yeah. No, I'm just kidding.
If you like care, if I guess whatever. If all you cared about was your soul,
yeah,
then it wouldn't really matter.
Yeah.
What thing happened. Yeah.
I hear that. That sounds much. I mean, that's true, but like,
it doesn't sound Mishlei.
No. I mean, that's not my problem. That sounds more like a component of the first step.
Oh.
Right.
Well, no, the first step is like, I still care about the outcome. I just don't know what. I just can't worry about it because I don't know what the outcome is.
Right. But I guess what I'm saying is that it sounds more like the first step in the sense that realizing that it's not as bad as you feel that it is. Seems like a lowering of the daga as opposed to an increasing of the simcha. Just to throw a thought out there, because I do have to leave soon to make it to Lamdeha, but and we can continue this tomorrow more thoroughly now that we know we're learning a different pasuk. When I mentioned that I said the parable of the farmer when we found out that our principal was leaving Shalavet before we found out that the school was closing. So I did write a little thing about the Nachum Ish Gamzu and the and my shot on it. So my shot then, which I think is still good, is I said framing the situation as good increases the chances of making it good. Okay. It is said that good fortune is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. And a person who's accustomed to say Gamzu Latova will undoubtedly find greater fortune than the person who shrugs and says good, bad, it's hard to say. So in other words, if you just say good, bad, it's hard to say, that addresses that's how you battle the initial impulse or the initial impression. But by actively framing it as this is for the good, that will cause you to look for the good in the situation and to change your decisions to try to maximize whatever good there is. In other words, it's an active taking control of the thing that's happening to you in order to actualize whatever potential for good there is in the thing. And saying good, bad, it's hard to say does not lend itself to that. Good, bad, it's hard to say is a much more passive type of thing where you're not necessarily going to seize opportunities for to make the situation good. Whereas so I am saying it's more than just optimism. That optimism would just be this might turn out to be good, or I will believe it's going to turn out to be good. But saying this is for the good, like, puts you into the mentality of like, how can this be good? And the Mishlei person will then like take whatever active steps are in his control to bring about the good from the situation.
So you sort of are faking yourself out.
No, you're no more faking yourself out than when the pandemic hits and a business person says, I see opportunities to make money here, or I see opportunities to like change the structures in America that are like, that are bad and that only something big can shake up, or, we can't go to, we can't go to school in person. This is the chance to try to expand our definition of what school can be, So like, that's more than just figuring yourself out. It's like looking for the good, and if you just said good, bad, it's hard to say, you wouldn't do those things, or you wouldn't be inclined to seize opportunities. That's a purely passive thing. Okay, let's continue this tomorrow. I think this is a good pasuk to work on in pairing with
I'm
this.
not fully convinced about that. So.
The truth of what I'm saying, or that as a pshat.